Welcome to this edition of SKNIS Week in Review. The Week in Review highlights the top stories of the work of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis for the past week. Let's get you caught up on some of the highlights for the week of May 26th to June 1st. Government to double penalties for gun-related crimes. Regional project launched to protect fishing sectors across the Eastern Caribbean. Centenarians acknowledged for their sterling contribution to nation building. International expert reports new school unlikely to contaminate groundwater supply. And High Commission to be opened in Ottawa, Canada. I am your presenter, Sharima Matthew. The penalties for persons convicted of gun-related crimes are expected to be increased in St. Kitts and Nevis. At a press conference on Wednesday, May 31st, Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, updated the nation on several security and legislation matters and said, and I quote, "Given the prevalence of guns in horrific killings, we propose to seek Parliament's approval in doubling the penalty for a summary offence from a maximum term of 10 years in certain cases to a maximum term of imprisonment not exceeding 20 years, end of quote. Dr. Harris said, government also wishes to ensure that persons on bail are not allowed to repeat criminal acts without due sanctions.
In relation to bail, therefore, we intend to make it more difficult for criminals to receive bail in relation to both a capital offence, such as murder, and a firearm offence at the same time. This will mitigate against criminals on bail exacting vengeance on witnesses and innocent people in our society. We propose that the court would consider imposing a monitoring device, for example, ankle bracelet, on certain persons as a condition of bail. We believe that the risk of loss of lives has to be given appropriate weight in the balancing between the loss of lives and liberty. On the score, at the next sitting of the Parliament, we will pass the Firearms Amendment Act and the Bail Amendment Act to make them more consistent with our people's views and expectation of our justice system.
The aforementioned bills were introduced in the National Assembly on May 23, 2017. Dr. Harris said that Parliament is next expected to convene on June 13, 2017. The Climate Change Adaptation in the Eastern Caribbean Fisheries Sector CC4 FISH project was launched in St. Kitts and Nevis during a national workshop with the aim of increasing resilience and reducing vulnerability to climate change impacts in the Eastern Caribbean fisheries sector through introduction of adaptation measures in fisheries management and capacity building of fisherfolk and aquaculturists. Dr. Iris Monroe, Regional Project Coordinator of the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO, said that it is important to implement a project of this nature, noting that as climate change is becoming increasingly real, it is also important to look at countries and regions that will suffer disastrous impacts. The Honorable Eugene Hamilton, Minister of Marine Resources, hailed the many assistance that the FAO has offered over the years, noting that it is well appreciated.
In all this, CC4 Fish project seeks to work closely with our government. It also seeks to work with non-governmental organizations and with fisherfolk groups and other stakeholders in our state. We work together to promote a more balanced and integrated approach to climate change adaptation and also to achieve inclusive and sustainable development in the region.
Minister Hamilton encouraged stakeholders to give FAO and the project their full support, which will eventually redound to the benefit of all who are involved in the fishing sector, as well as to those who are users of fish. The CC4 Fish project is expected to be rolled out in 7 Caribbean countries, including Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, and Trinidad and Tobago. In celebration of Centenarians Day 2017, which was observed on May 31st, Governor General His Excellency Sir Tapley Seaton joined officials from the Department of Social Services on a journey where they visited centenarians around St. Kitts and honored them for their invaluable socio-economic contributions towards the development of the Federation. In speaking to one of the centenarians, Sir Tapley thanked her for her contribution to nation building and presented her with an appreciation token, as he did with all the other centenarians visited on that day.
It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today to celebrate Centenarians Day. And we're very happy to congratulate you on this special day when we want to show appreciation for all of the persons who have reached 100 and beyond. You are one of our treasured citizens because you have contributed much not only to this community but the entire country.
Presently, there are 17 centenarians, 11 residing in St. Kitts and 6 in Nevis, with the oldest being Celian Powell, who is 104 years old. The recommendation to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to situate the new Bastia High School in the Bastia Valley region is unlikely to have any negative impact on the aquifer that supplies water to the capital city and other nearby communities. This was stated in a report by geologist Sandy Nettles, president at NS Nettles and Associates, Ocean Earth Technologies, in situ of Tampa Bay region, dated July 19, 2016. At a press conference on Wednesday 31st, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Education, the Honorable Sean Richards, quoted excerpts from the document that relate to the school's location.
When asked about possible school site locations, I recommend the southwest part of the Ponds Estate property as having the lowest potential contamination threat to the well field due to its downgradient location. With respect to the potential contamination sources that are associated with a high school facility, mitigation methodologies can be incorporated into the school facility operation and maintenance program to greatly reduce the contamination potential.
Reflecting on advice from local and international experts, Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris noted that government was acting responsibly in the decision to construct the school in Ponds Estate. That decision was guided at all times by recommendations from various committees made up of experts in the field of water management and the environment. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kay Bass, is currently in Canada meeting with staff and Canadian partners ahead of an intense month of meetings and official activities in Canada. While in Ottawa, P.S. Bass used the opportunity to speak with staff about the strategic vision of the ministry and the government and the importance of the mission in Canada in bolstering the St. Kitts and Nevis' and Canada relationship. She also capitalized on her presence in the Canadian capital by paying a courtesy visit to the Assistant Deputy Minister with responsibility for the Americas and the Chief Development Officer, Mr. David Morrison. The dialogue between both sides touched on important issues such as gender equality and women empowerment, climate change in small island states, and Canada's presidency of the G7. The Permanent Secretary and the Assistant Deputy Minister both pledged to increase the levels of contact in order to find a convergence across global policy priority areas. P.S. Bass's trip to Canada comes as the Federation is preparing to officially open its High Commission in Ottawa on June 16, 2017, in the presence of high-level officials from both St. Kitts and Nevis and Canada. 3 students were recently recognized for their demonstration of excellent reading skills during the annual Charles A. Halbert Public Library ReadAthon. The competition saw 41 students vying for the title of Most Outstanding Reader, in which Daniel Thompson won in the senior division, Josiah Davis in the junior, while Are Mongley was the second overall winner. Governor General His Excellency Sir Tapley Seaton said that he was very pleased to be associated with the prize-giving ceremony and was equally pleased that the Halbert family is still lending its support to the library.
I'm glad to see that the Halbert family is supporting this library endeavor. It was named for their grandfather and great-grandfather, who I knew when I was a youngster, because I'd gone to his bookstore to purchase and to pick up magazines that he was selling on Africa. The library was appropriately named in his honor, and that the Halbert family is following up in terms of presentation of prizes and then what support to this endeavor.
Sir Tapley pledged his support to help in any way he can to promote the library. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation and Deputy Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, attended the Pan-Caribbean Partnership Against HIV and AIDS Parliamentarians Forum in Jamaica from May 30th to 31st, 2017, with the aim of addressing the challenges of HIV and issues of stigma and discrimination. The forum was attended by parliamentarians from both the government side and the opposition in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The idea is to sensitize and educate parliamentarians, give us an opportunity to articulate more clearly to our public the position in relation to HIV and AIDS and how we can deal with the stigma and discrimination. Discussions have been robust and very informative, and I think that the issue now is to engage civil society to ensure that we move towards all are comfortable and all sectors of our society enjoy the benefits of equality under the law and protection under the law.
Minister Brantley acted on behalf of Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, CARICOM's lead head for HIV, Health and Social Development, COSAD. He noted that the convening of the Regional Parliamentarians Forum was important and timely. Individuals willing to give a portion of their time to aid the positive development of young people by participating in a challenging yet fun and rewarding experience are encouraged to sign up for the Department of Youth Empowerment's 34th Annual Summer Residential Camp. Vernon Connor, Special Advisor to the Minister of Youth, and Pierre Liebert, Acting Director in the department, issued the call to service. Mr. Liebert said that the camp will run from July 16th to 31st this year under the theme Empowering Our Youth to Soar for Much More. It will feature the usual enjoyable activities such as sports, pool, water day, movie night, talent show, field trips, and camp banquet mixed in with sessions that instruct campers on leadership, baking, drumming, pageantry, dancing, video filming, Spanish, and more. 218 persons between the ages of 8 and 16 years attended the 2016 camp, and the number are expected to be about the same this year. The youth officials are hoping to get applications from about 50 additional individuals volunteering for tasks such as dorm leaders, camp nurse, and counselors. The prospect of dealing with about 10 to 15 children per dorm for 15 days may seem unappealing to some, but Mr. Connor noted that the life-changing impact that is made by sincere camp leaders does not go unnoticed.
The tears that flow on the final day of camp is the statement of these young people as to the impact of camp on their lives for those 2 weeks. And many of them do not even want to leave to go back home. The bond that they share with their leaders. These young people, they never forget their youth leaders for the rest of their life, especially if that youth leader made a change in them over those 2 weeks.
Vernon Connor, a Special Advisor to the Minister of Youth. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam have expressed their desire to work closer together to further strengthen bilateral relations in areas such as climate change, tourism, and infrastructural development, which will redound to the benefit of residents and citizens of both nations. This was expressed when Vietnamese Ambassador Pham San Chow met with Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris during a courtesy call at government headquarters. The visiting diplomat commended St. Kitts and Nevis' Citizenship by Investment program, stating it is one that the Vietnamese government is considering promoting among its people.
Some area I think that we can start with. Number one is property development. We have a number of companies who have very strong in property development. In Vietnam, we have Sun Group and Vin Group. Those are the two leading property development in the area. So I think that there's not difficult for them to invest in that and perhaps through this program. Secondly, we can also have the tourism development. The Caribbean in general and St. Kitts and Nevis is becoming one of the favorite destinations for the Vietnamese tourists. They have traveled to Europe, to USA. Now it's the high time for them to explore this part of the world.
Another area of potential investment, according to Ambassador Chow, is in the area of telecommunications, as Vietnam is very strong in telecommunications, with operations now in Peru and in Haiti, and very soon in the Dominican Republic. St. Kitts and Nevis and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam established diplomatic relations in 2013. Thanks for viewing SKNIS Week in Review. I am Sherma Matthew. See you next week as we continue to update you, the general public, on what's happening in and around the Federation.